So it's a real honor to be here. I've been staring at photos of Dan's cars online for years and always wondered where this place was and what the environment it was in. And yeah, he likes to be high RPMs. We can make that happen. Good morning. So, welcome to Los Angeles. Now I'm told we're in the middle of a heat wave. Hence you can hear the fan on this G11 7 Series that Amjad's managed to wangle as our hire car during the time out here in LA. Not bad. It cracks me up that you managed to pull up a 7 Series out here. So we're out here in LA ahead of Monterey Car Week. That's an entire week away. But it's become sort of an annual ritual to make it Monterey Car 2 weeks by doing 1 week in LA to hang out with the DDE boys, catch up on the car culture, which is probably the best in the world in California, to sort of acclimatize, get on the time zone before heading up on an annual rally all the way up to Monterey in time for Car Week, which in my personal opinion is the best week of the year for petrol heads worldwide. I'd rather be hiking than driving a Tesla too. All right, something's happening. I can see police lights up here. Are they escorting those coaches? Yeah, they are, look. Letting these guys through. Gold Coast Tours. Wonder who's on there. There's something about the F-150. I know we'd never make it work. I think it's a classic case of you want what you can't have. And because we don't get them in the UK.
No, you don't. I think you do, you know. I think you get.
You can only import them. You can't buy them from a Ford dealer.
I want to drive the one you've driven, the V6 one. The V8.
No, I drove the V8 supercharged R.
Yeah,
it was hilariously cool. I mean, it had an engine like an offshore powerboat. And it drank like an offshore powerboat as well. I think we were getting 9 miles per gallon. See, in the US, again, based on just fuel prices alone, it kind of works. In the UK, you'd be doing 12 grand a year. I don't know where to start. We've got a Cinque there, Zonda Cinque, and a Tricolore. There's only 3 of those in the world. So the actual story of this car goes that this was a celebration from Pagani on the 50th anniversary of the Italian aero acrobatics team. These stripes from the Tricolore, while they are obviously representative of the Italian flag, actually ran down the body of the planes and jets that the stunt pilots would pilot. And I think this car went back to 2010, but that was effectively why it exists in the first place. It's a celebration of the Italian aerobatics team. Look at it, looks like a jet in itself. But for me, hero cars in the Pagani world, Cinque. If in any parallel universe I was ever in a situation to get my hands on a Zonda of any sorts, the dream was always a Cinque Roadster with a manual conversion. Not that the gearbox on that isn't what you want, but there's something about naturally aspirated V12 Zonda that when I was growing up, it was just the poster wall stuff. I honestly felt that Pagani started and ended with Zonda. It was just the ultimate, mostly based around that engine. And as you can see when they launched the Huayra R recently, the track-only version, you can see the passion that has, because it gets shared all over the internet as soon as anyone hears one. And it's all to do with what's in there. Look at this, Cinque. Number 5 of 5. There's another carbon car here. In fact, there's probably more carbon cars under this roof than there is non-carbon cars. So this is a carbon-bodied Shelby GT 500. Side exit exhaust, entirely carbon body. And almost opposite ethos, 991 Gen 2, GT3 RS, Weizsack pack, Ventador SV Roadster, Gunther Works full carbon car. You can see a theme here, full carbon cars with blue accents. So blue accents on the full carbon bodied Gunther Works Coupe, blue accents full carbon body on the GT 500, same on the Huayra BC Centenario, full carbon bodies, blue accents. There's only so much a camera and photos can do, but when you're able to move around and get a feeling for the depth, I mean the depth of that diffuser, look at it. Absolutely crazy. Now, one of the interesting things, the whole garage, where possible based on fitment, every car has been swapped to Michelin tires. And actually, from an aesthetic point of view, it's actually quite unique seeing a set of Michelins on a Centenario, particularly a Pagani. Look at this. This Pagani wearing Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. You very, very rarely see that. Same over here. These as well have Michelin tires on. That's not the tire that this car originally came on. I mean, even just having a look at it aesthetically, it's just a different glance. But I'm so happy seeing this running a set of Pilot Sport 4S. What a thing. Same over here. This never left the factory on a Michelin, but the owner just believes they're better on Michelins. So let's just go back, dig deep and see what else is in the back here. AMG GTR. It's almost the opposite. It's blue with black accents. V8, twin turbo, track focus car. Also on the Michelins, although I believe this came from factory on those. Now then, Lagondas. These things are rare anywhere in the world, but I'm informed that in North America, there are 2. So to see one of these here tucked away underneath an R33 Nismo, also on a fresh set of Michelins. This is box fresh. I believe this is basically delivery mileage GTR. What a thing. And then next to it, equally as iconic on a set of BBS, R34, this too, box fresh, delivery mileage, never gets used, hence it being up on the top ramps because it's a car that doesn't come out that often. Totally piano black SVJ. I say piano black because oftentimes there's a metallic heavy fleck on Lamborghini paint. It's kind of what they're famous for, but to see a flat piano black on one, it just looks menacing. A slightly more track biased MSOX, kind of like a 620R, but slightly more road bias, inbuilt roof scoop. It's kind of a GT4 car for the road, honestly. This is a serious collection. And one of my all-time favorite cars, if you're familiar with Dan Am I on Instagram, you might have seen this car. This is one of the most famous Agera platforms in the world. This is the Thor. It's a final edition car. So think of it as, I believe this is a one of 2 that were commissioned at a similar time. But it's got sort of custom aero, totally bespoke exposed carbon, and you can see that sort of diamond dust fleck in the clear coat. Black badge, which is unusual on a Koenigsegg, and totally custom aero strokes, look, with this Thor detailing on there. This thing is a legendary Agera. Iconic triplex. Look at the diamond dust fleck surrounding that triplex poking through there. Koenigsegg do sculpture on a whole different scale. Interestingly, I would say that the Huayra, despite the blue accents, from a carbon point of view, it's actually quite complementary. You can see that here it's got the darker carbon, lighter carbon, similar on this. Darker carbon, lighter carbon. But you know what? These have aged well, haven't they? This SV, it looks really good in white, black and white. It's like, by pure coincidence, I was out in one of these in Hong Kong about 2 days ago. You just forget how serious they are. With that NA V12, it really rocks the whole world around you. I think they've aged well. I mean, look at the sculpture on it. That's no joke. And if you've been following DDE, you know what they sound like if you put a proper pipe on them too. It really unlocks the whole throat of that V12. Wow.
Especially out in the sun.
Oh, that clear coat in the sun must be unbelievable.
Just shimmers.
And is that Christian's signature?
It's Christian's and Nicholas Lauger.
Oh, brilliant. So you even have platinum gilding on the gas struts.
Yes.
That's detail.
Aircon.
Oh, wow. Even the air outlets. It's totally blown my mind that that's platinum. These never get old. This is the innovative and proprietary linkage and hinge system on the dihedral synchro helix door system. Yep, if you've never heard of that before, I'm not making that up. They are called dihedral synchro helix door hinges, and it's proprietary to Koenigsegg, which allows the door to open and articulate at the same time while keeping the profile of the door pretty close to the overall profile of the car. Of course, one of the great things about Koenigseggs is that you can take off the roof and then you flip them upside down and you take out these 2 pipes here. So you can think of this It's like a carbon sink. So when it rains, water accumulates in here, drips down that hole, and then drips out underneath on these pipes. But if you want to store the roof, and if you're fortunate enough to live in a climate like California, you just pull these out like this, tuck them back, and then the roof slides in there. Cool feature. How is that for a display? I know I've been really fortunate over the years, and if you follow the main channel, you'll know we do a lot with Koenigsegg. We're really fortunate back home that we are the Koenigsegg London dealership. We're based in Kensington. So we've been around quite a few Koenigsegg's, and we've shared a lot of Koenigsegg's over the years. But everyone is unique. By their very nature, they are an individual commission from each customer. And that's when they dream up incredible options like crushed diamond dust in the clear coat and platinum gilding all over the car. So when you see one, all of the details, despite the fact that they're built on a fundamentally similar platform, you just get lost in every intricate detail. And sites like this, when you've got that sort of exploded view, it just never gets old. By the way, on the key, when you do it in ghost mode, Koenigsegg have called that robotized auto skim, which actually makes the doors, the front bonnet and the rear engine clam open and close entirely autonomously on their own power. It's a hell of a party trick, and I think it's one of the few cars in the world that is almost as theatrical to engage with when the car's switched off and stationary as it actually is to drive. It's like this living, breathing thing. That said, not to be totally biased towards Koenigsegg or anything, obviously Pagani, absolutely phenomenal. As far as Huayras go, this is one of the best I've ever seen, but one of my favorite innovations from Pagani is this particular carbon here. So you might notice, look, the weave on this is very distinctly different to this weave here, not because it's a much tighter weave, but if you look closely, you see these silver strands in there? Wait for it, that is a material called carbotanium. I'm not making this stuff up. Carbotanium, that is carbon fiber with a titanium weave that runs through it. Look at the weave on this though. Super fat, mega grade of carbon on this. I really love the complementing lime green accents that pop off the caliper against the rim of the wheel and against the actual body of the car. And this roof scoop, and that is inducting straight into a naturally aspirated V12. The way that these things sound, that array of exhausts, I think as well it's something to do with like the firing order of the engine, the angle of the banks, the pulling together an array of the exhausts. There's something about this thing, even though it doesn't rev particularly high compared to modern day hypercars, the way that it sounds is pure F1. You know that cliche saying, it's like an F1 car for the road? This thing sounds like an F1 car for the road. Yep. Oh, it's electric on that?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. That's a nice detail. So which Shelby signed this?
I think they have either pre-signature plates, that he signed.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And again, this is a numbered Shelby from
Okay.
Classic, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, well,
See you in a minute.
yeah.
Oh.
It likes to be in high RPMs.
It likes to be high RPMs? We can make that happen. Oh, have you heard it? Whoa. The transitions off these ramps around here are kind of full on. Let's not forget that this is an entirely carbon bodied car, so I love the crazy random stuff we end up doing. Like, we find ourselves an entirely carbon bodied Shelby GT500, you know, as you do on a Tuesday. You wouldn't think a shifter of that shape would work, would you? Like, so used to it in Europe being just like straight up. Okay, pretty full on. That's better. What a machine! It's got some pull, hasn't it? placement of the gear shifter is really comfortable.
It's just adjusted to see,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh, I like this. You could get used to this, man. All right. It sounds like an absolute demon, this thing. Wow. Yep, like this a lot. It's a lot of fun. Wow. Not gonna get tired of this. There's nothing quite comparable to an American muscle car from a European standpoint. It's got massively its own flavor entirely. Louis arrived. Mate, we're fully American now, bro. How you doing? You good?
Sounding good, looking
Mate, it sounds unbelievable, this thing.
good. Are you okay? No, man.
It's so cool. Even though it's full of torque, it still likes the high RPMs.
Yes, it's because of the Whipple.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Of course,
got supercharged.
Of course.
Yeah, so 700
yeah,
to wheels.
you can hear
It
that.
weighs about 2,800 pounds,
1,300 kilograms.
and they shaved off about 1,000 from all that metal. Yeah.
We just went block. We just went around the
Yeah.
block. I'm sure you could hear it ping ponging all over.
Yes, I'm like, oh, I can hear it. I
Hear
don't
that.
know where it's
Oh my days. Oh, it's incredible. But it's an actual certified chassis,
Yes,
as it were.
yes.
So it's not like a recreation. It's a certified chassis. It's like an ultimate.
It's built by Classic Recreation in
Yeah.
behalf of Shelby.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, it puts a smile on your face, like
Right?
immediately. Like
Oh.
as soon as you start it, you giggle like a child.
Yes.
And then like when you get it up into third, it's like a swell of energy.
So if you go 3/4 throttle in and you kind of lean into it,
Yeah.
it just you get that slingshot from
Yeah,
that
pulse
boost.
so hard,
Yeah.
man. Do they do any torsional stiffness
They did
correction on the original?
The entire chassis is all brand new. So basically, what they kept is just part of the firewall
Okay.
to keep the VIN,
Yes.
and then everything
The rest
else
of
is
it's new?
just yes.
This is the first GT500 I've ever driven.
Oh.
So I got a feeling I don't want to drive the original.
No,
Because this is spoiled the whole thing.
I mean a regular 427, it's a little bit of different drive,
Sure.
just like anything.
Sure.
But this has just been beefed up and added some steroids.
Lots of them.
Yes.
It's actually quite manageable considering how much power it's got and that it's just an angry beast, right? It
You
doesn't
can-
intimidate you too much. It's quite, I mean,
It-
if you
it
drop
handles,
it, it goes,
yes.
you know, but it feels the way that the chassis composure is, and I thought the traction was okay, actually.
Oh no,
The
it's
traction
great.
was
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
really good.
They have another option as far as suspension goes, and you can really adjust it, three-point way adjustable coilovers and so on. This one just has it's a driver.
Sure, this is like a road bias setup, right? We're just saying we don't have like a European comparison, do we? It's awesome. Just saying it puts a massive smile on your face. It's so good.
There isn't a European equivalent.
There isn't really a European equivalent, is there? Yorkie, I'll pass you the brisket. Man, that thing is hot. Oh, that salted beef looks amazing. So you just slap it on there. What a great concept. I've got these extractor fans up here. It's so good. What a machine. Love it. Fresh plate. Chicken time.
Oh, wait, one more.
Oh, one more. Oh, salted. Let's go. Oh, it's not hot yet. Yorkie, what's the review? Chef Yorkie at the table. What's the review?
Brilliant.
Huh? What's it saying? I can't quite hear it. He said a guy in shorts with blue shoes just flown in from the UK is screwed. There wasn't a speaker from this restaurant, I can tell you what it's saying. I don't know what it's saying, but if I was you, Yorkie, I'd hide.